morning, guys, and welcome to today's awesome episode of Pitt Perspectives, the show where we share community, where we inspire culture, and we share stories around here. And thank you to everybody who's been listening to us. It's Memorial Day weekend, and you're tuned into Pitt Perspectives right here on Awesome Radio 107.5 FM
Yeah.
and 1570 MWECU. I'm your host, Victor Imuka, and I'm joined by these days it's mostly annoying. It used to be half amazing, half annoying, but mostly annoying. Yes, so I'm joined with my mostly annoying co-hosts, AY and Patrick, Deputy Patrick. How are you guys feeling today?
Yeah, good morning, Pitt County. I'm feeling so good. Like Victor said, it's Memorial Day weekend, and it's time to reflect and appreciate, and to show big love and appreciation and remembering, someone special on this weekend. So I'm excited to be here.
Yeah,
Morning.
what's up, Patrick? How you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. Good morning. Good morning. This is Patrick on the one, the two, the three, the awesome radio. Amazing stands out. It's great weather, and it's summer weather. I'm in shorts. It's an amazing day. Excited for the show. Absolutely. We wanted to take a moment to honor men and women who gave their lives to service the country and everything. And so your sacrifice will never be forgotten. Take it away, Victor.
Yeah.
Yes, that's all right. And folks, as we head out for cookouts and beach trips and travels, we are encouraging everyone to stay safe. There may be increased traffic on the road, so take your time, stay alert, and arrive alive. Arrive alive. Yeah. Yes. Now, as always, you can join this conversation live, by calling us on our studio lines at 252-756-2008. Let's keep the energy high and the vibe flowing all hour long. So, like always, it's time for our community news recap, presented to you by Carolina Arthritis Center, your trusted expert in care. What do we have here, Ewa? Let's go.
All right, so the first news we have this morning is Pitt commissioners approve fire services study, delay recurring fund vote.
Yes, Pitt County commissioners have approved the contract to begin a fire services study and long-range plan, but decided to hold off on creating a recurring fund and advisory commission to manage future fire service needs. Commissioner Rochelle Brown introduced the proposal for the fund and commission, saying it would provide a transparent, data-driven way to support fire departments across the country. While several commissioners agreed in principle, most felt it was best to wait for the study's findings before making structural changes. Winterville Fire Chief David Moore supported the idea but expressed concern about the timing. The board later unanimously awarded the study contract to NC Fire Chief Consulting, which has experience with fire service reviews across the state. County Manager Janice Gallagher noted that identifying a funding source would be a key part of the discussion moving forward. Commissioner Brown said she's hopeful this starts a conversation about long-term fire service support. Let's go.
All right. Okay. So the next news here says that State Auditor Dave Bollick discusses expanded powers and government waste.
Yes, North Carolina's new state auditor, Dave Bollick, spoke with local leaders at the Greenville Pitt County Chamber Power Luncheon, highlighting his expanded responsibilities and efforts to root out government waste. Bollick shared that $21.7 million, more than 10% of a federal energy grant, was spent on a website and flyers rather than services, calling it a prime example of inefficiency. He is now seeking more legislative funding to support his office's growing role, which now includes oversight of the State Board of Elections and potentially the new Division of Accountability. So I believe you are about to go on a break. Don't touch the dial. We'll see you on the other side. back.
Welcome
Welcome back
back.
to the Awesome Radio. We're still here on Pitt Perspectives. Yes, before we went on the break, we were talking about the state auditor discussing waste and new responsibilities in Greenville visits. So Bolik also announced an audit of the state's hurricane relief program and efforts to track federal aid for recovery in real time. He emphasized transparency and the importance of face-to-face audits to ensure relief money reaches the people who need it. As he pushes for stronger oversight and modern tools, Bolik's message was clear. With more resources, his office can deliver greater value to taxpayers.
Yeah. All right. Great news there. Let's move to the next one, which says Oakwood School girls soccer team falls in NCISAA state finals.
Yes, the Oakwood School girls soccer team capped a stellar season by reaching the NCISAA 1A state championship game. The Eagles secured a 2-0 win over Lawrence Academy in the semifinals, earning their second trip to the title match in 3 seasons under head coach Tricia Hunt. Although Oakwood fell 4-2 to Crossroads Christian in the final at NC Wesleyan, the team's impressive run has energized fans and the school community. It's another strong showing for a program on the rise.
Wow, great news there.
Yes,
All
yes,
right.
yes. That's some soccer. That's some soccer news. Yeah, shout out to soccer, man. Shout out to soccer. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so the next news is from ECU, and it says ECU Health opens first perinatal addiction clinic in Eastern NC.
Yes, ECU Health has launched the Impact Clinic, Eastern North Carolina's first outpatient center focused on treating pregnant women with substance use disorders. Located at ECU's Brody School of Medicine, the clinic offers addiction treatment alongside prenatal care, aiming to reduce maternal and infant complications related to drug use. The clinic brings together specialists in obstetrics, addiction medicine, mental health, and social services to support patients through recovery and motherhood. With overdose related maternal deaths on the rise, the clinic fills a gap in rural health care and will also train future providers in this life saving field. I think that's a great one for East
Yeah.
Carolina University and the
Yeah.
region. Yes.
So moving on, we have Pitt EMS crews honored during National EMS Week.
Yes, Pitt County recognized these EMS workers this week during National Emergency Medical Services Week, celebrating the dedicated crews who respond to thousands of emergency calls each year. The Pitt EMS team responded to over 15,000 service calls in 2024. Wow. With more than half requiring treatment or hospital support. The county's EMS includes full and part-time paramedics, assistant supervisors, and a community paramedic program that delivers in-home care to underserved residents. With 4 ambulance stations and award-winning services, Pitt EMS continues to play a vital role in public health and safety.
Moving on, we have Gathering Voices. Project highlights Pitt County stories.
Yes, if you all remember, we brought an update when this project was starting up, sometime last month or so on the show. So the Gathering Voices Initiative, a collaboration between the Pitt County Human Relations Commission and ECU Academic Library, is bringing residents together to share their stories. Through listening sessions in towns like Aden and Winterville, the project aims to preserve local history and highlights the contributions of smaller communities in shaping Pitt County. Today's session in Aden gave residents a chance to reflect on the town's legacy and engage in storytelling. Organizers say these conversations help build pride, understanding, and a shared vision for the future.
One is a big one. Sports news, and so it says Greenville United FC
FC.
Yes, so Greenville United FC bounced back with a thrilling 2-1 victory over Charlottetown Hops FC thanks to a dramatic stoppage time goal. The Bucks came from behind to claim all 3 points in front of an energetic home crowd, following a midweek loss. Now, with momentum back on their side, back on our side, the Bucks face 865 Alliance FC from Tennessee this Saturday at 6 p.m. for Healthcare Appreciation Night at Pope John Paul II Catholic High School Stadium. Fans are encouraged to come out and support the team. Anyway, what do you make of the game? I'm sure
That
you've been
was
there.
so thrilling. As a matter of
Bro.
fact, that match was better than the Europa League nonsense final that they played. That was it. That
Bro.
was some game. Because I was on duty also, and I was by the pitch
Yeah.
side. And the
Yeah.
way I screamed when they
Oh,
scored
yeah?
that goal was I mean it was serious. Like it was,
You're not
and
alone.
the timing was also very interesting. I mean, it
Bro,
was
that's 90
stoppage
minutes.
time. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean
That's and
that's great, man.
it's fascinating because obviously being like the I guess ambassador of the team, when I go to the dressing room, I talk to the boys. I let them know that like when we score, the whole mood changes. Bro,
Yeah.
people buy more. People buy beer at the beer garden more. People buy pizza more. I mean, the whole energy,
Yeah, everybody's
of the
happy and
city
stuff.
changes. Everybody is happy, and that's what football
True.
does. That's what soccer does. So,
Yeah.
hey, man, we are doing it again tonight at 6 against 865 Alliance. 865 Alliance FC is from Tennessee. They are a little under us, I believe, on the table in the Southeastern Conference of the NPSL. So we are hoping to pick up the 3 points, riding on the back of our win, this last win. Then tomorrow we'll be heading out to Newport News in Virginia to play Lions Bridge FC. So I'm thinking, I'll probably make it out there, but let's see how that goes.
Yeah.
Let's see how that goes. Yes.
Greenville Fire and Rescue warns of film production pyrotechnics.
Yes, Greenville residents near Shog Parkway may notice pyrotechnics and flame effects from May the 22nd to, that was, I believe, yesterday or day before yesterday, to May the 26th. Greenville Fire and Rescue has advised that these sounds and sights are part of a scheduled film production and are no cause for concern. The department emphasized that while the scenes may appear alarming, everything is being handled safely and professionally as part of the shoots. That's interesting. Who knew like Greenville is set for some action movies, man?
Yeah.
It's been interesting to see what that looks like, man.
Yeah. Hey, I know you are a good decent actor. Maybe you should go and
I mean, if I mean a lot of sets are closed, but if they are open, which I doubt, I don't think it will be open to the public. It will be something I would like to see, really.
You never know, though. Hey, never say never. Yes.
Okay, let's see how that goes.
Let's see how much time until we have to go on the break.
Yeah, we still have like a minute.
All right.
Wow.
All right. So, yes, that was it for our top community news recap. To find more information about all of these information, you can check out our social media. We are at Pitt Perspectives on Facebook, on Instagram, on LinkedIn, everywhere you get your news. So, fellas, let's get into it.
Yes.
This week on Pitt Perspectives, we are asking, is college still the best path? That's right. With the job market shifting, student loan debt rising, and new opportunities in trades, techs, and entrepreneurship, many are questioning whether a 4-year degree is still the golden ticket.
Yeah,
What do you think? Yeah.
I mean that's a big one, and I know a lot of people who have degrees and are probably underemployed. But I mean, I think we'll just go on that break now. Then when we get back, get into the click of it. Don't touch that dial.
Yes, don't touch that dial on Awesome Radio. Welcome back. We're still here on Awesome Radio, 107.5 FM, 1570 AM, WECU, and it's still your favorite weekend crew here on Pitt Perspectives. Yeah, you have Victor Ihuka and my mostly annoying co-host, AY, and Patrick Mbaya Lufuluwabo. Yes, Deputy. Yeah, I just called Patrick's full South African name. Yes, so guys, yes, before we went on that break, we were talking about, unemployment and underemployment.
Yes. So the idea is, I mean, there are a lot of people with degrees who are probably, underemployed. They're not earning as much as they should based on the skill sets they possess with their degree.
Right.
And there are others who, probably didn't even complete college or skipped college altogether. Funny enough, just this week, I saw a video from a commencement ceremony where Steve Jobs was invited to, speak, and he was talking about how, he dropped out of school and all that. So, I mean, there are people like that who didn't, probably didn't complete college, or some don't even attend at all, and who are doing quite well, And like you mentioned, with all the technicalities with, opportunities in trade, in tech, entrepreneurship, and all of that, and the fact that, to go to school is quite expensive, students' loan are on the rise and stuff, people will begin to, weigh their options and see, it's all about access to what you want to do, and of course your mindset, and sometimes just knowing what else is out there, what opportunity exists.
And a lot of folks feel pressure, to go the traditional route. But what about apprenticeships or
I think apprenticeships, Pete. You remember we talked about this the other time. In Africa, I don't know about you, Patrick Ball. Part of Nigeria, apprenticeships are a big deal. And something else I wanted to point out, AY, from what you said. You know how over here some people go to school, or some people don't go to college, and they still turn out fine, right? Whereas in some other parts of the world, I mean, even folks with like double degrees are finding it difficult to find a well-paying job, which I think is interesting. And I think generally, and even just from what we've, talked about on the show, there seems to be an enrollment decline, like a decrease in enrollments. Less college-aged kids, young people in the United States are going to school less. So that means, the enrollments are going down. And I think, which is one of the things this year we read on the news the other time, when they employed a marketing agency or something to a consulting agency to help sort of, with the rebranding and telling the story and trying to capture another different demographic, non-traditional, people. But is there a value? Let's, I guess digress a little bit, but still keep it together. Is there a value in a 4-year degree? Is there a value in going to school? And maybe not just a 4-year degree, because I mean, Pitt community and some of our other community colleges are doing absolutely well too. Is there some value in it? Is education still worth it?
Of course, education. I mean, now, so I know we mentioned this. I think it was during when we talked about the commencement, and I think it was commencement. We all talk about the graduate and way forward and the future.
Right.
Absolutely, there is value in education, and I think in any terrain, any country you go to, there is always value. I mean, if it's not that valuable, people won't have to pay that much for it to start with. First of all, we look at access to, say, network, for example. If I did not come to EC, I wouldn't have met Victor, I wouldn't have met Deputy Patrick.
I mean, your life, we wouldn't have changed your life.
These are valuable connections that will be, very valuable for me in the future and even currently.
Hopefully. Yeah,
That
no, I'm
aside,
kidding. I'm kidding.
I have a friend also here in the US, and we're friends from college back in Nigeria. And then when I came here, I needed to, like, I think it was during Thanksgiving. I needed to just go somewhere and just spend my entire week there and just relax. And I traveled down to Maryland to visit him and his family, and I had a wonderful time. As little as that looks, if I did not meet that guy in college, there's no way I would have had that connection. And there are other things that, I mean, it is, we can, leverage each other's um skills to achieve on the long run. So I
Right,
think that building that, giving that platform for that networking is very valuable, even aside, what you learn in the classroom. And of course this is a very information driven generation where at the
right,
snap of your finger you have access to a lot of information online. However, there is a systematic approach to it when it comes to school. And that is the
right,
difference because when you go online, there's so many things you're faced with. You don't even know where to start, right? The information is endless, it's so much, but school helps you to put it in structure. School
right,
helps to, put it together in a sense. And it's more, the systematic nature of school is what makes it school, right? It's what
right.
differentiates it for someone who just goes online and tries to just hop from maybe one YouTube channel to somewhere to learn something, which is fine.
Right.
There's a place for that, but there is a structure that school brings, and I think that's where the value is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what I mean, hey, our listeners, we are here for you. What do you believe? Is college still the best path to success, or should we be doing more to celebrate and support alternative, routes? Call us live on 252-756-2008, or you can email us at hello.pittperspectives@gmail.com. We want to hear your story, your perspectives, and your vision for the future of work. I mean, I think you touched on something about, I think, the YouTube thing. I've realized that even with the amount of information out there, on some level, I feel like humans, and I mean generally all of us to some degree, need that structure of school, those deadlines, those, quizzes and those sitting in, human interactions,
Absolutely.
because, it's been touted that, hey, information is become cheap. It's the information age, and,
Yeah.
you can be about anything right now. But I think maybe not so much because, I mean, there are certain things you need some guidance, with, I mean, as much as you learn online, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so what do you guys think?
Yeah, Patrick. What
Yeah,
David Patrick?
I think it's school is still very important. And when you mentioned that is a 4 year degree still worth it, is school still worth it?
Right.
Because is there's so many factors that go into it in this day and age.
Mm-hmm.
It's the age of AI, and internet is at your fingertips. As AY said, you have all the information in the world at a snap of whatever you want you can find. But at the same time, it also depends with your environment and location. For
Mm-hmm.
example, it's different back home. Say, you know, it's different. Like a college degree is a must. That's your safest bet to making it out in life. Like a 4 year must. That's what you must do. It's the only thing that could guarantee, modest life, as opposed to say in the US where, you could do anything and become successful at it. There's way more opportunities. You could,
Right.
you could hone your talents and make a life out of it. While at least
Right.
back home, it's more like, hey, you go to school for such a degree, and that's what your life is mostly going to be about. Of course, you have your hobbies and stuff, but your hobbies will never really make you, make it out in life. So it's about, the location and the place. And it's very important that the structure, as AY mentioned, the structure is very important. You can have all this information online and you want to learn coding or you want to learn how to, create websites and all that. But, human interaction, some people also, for example, learn way more from teachers, like eye to eye. People learn more
Mm-hmm.
from as opposed to online. Some people are just built that way, like they need that teacher to talk to them, to see their mistake and help them in that way, because
Right.
sometimes code for the whole day and just a little problem is with your code and you don't realize it. Not because if a teacher was there, they would they know the common things that could go wrong and they help you through it. So it's different for different places in human.
So let's talk about the reality of going to school.
Yeah.
Yes, like we've agreed, school, gives you those opportunities,
Victor,
or
I
they
think
should.
we might have to
All
hold
right,
that thought and
all
go
right,
on.
all right, all right. You're still here on Awesome Radio. We'll see you when we get back. Welcome back to Pitt Perspectives on Awesome Radio. I mean, three of us look like some traditional musical group from Africa. From here. Yeah, I mean, yes, good stuff, good stuff. Yes, just right before we went on that break, we are talking about the future of work. If college is still what's it. So, and we are still here on Awesome Radio, your Pitt Perspectives, your favorite show weekend, with your favorite weekend crew. So, I was starting to talk about the reality of school, you know, um, the debt, because I mean, it's money. I mean, if there's anything we've learned about America, is that everything is has some money components to it. So, the traditional college parts too, there are I mean, that's is a real thing, and I think ECU, I believe last year or so, did these assessments where they found the courses or the programs that gave the highest return on investment, which was interesting too. So I don't want to throw any measure under the bus, but it's a real thing, the debt that comes with it. So I think that can also discourage people from trying to go the academic route, the traditional 4-year college thing, because you need money to do that. And you know the issue of students loans and debts and all of that has become a real thing now. Something else too is, I mean, I'm just trying to be the devil, to play the devil's advocate here. Some people are probably not cut out for school, right, guys? Right?
Yeah, I think I get what you're trying to say.
So I mean, what do you guys think?
Well, I think I understand what you're trying to say.
I mean,
And
at least not
of
schooling, at least schooling the way, the traditional way.
yes,
Let
yes, in
me make that
traditional
clear
setting.
too. Yeah, let me make that clear,
So,
please. Yeah,
yeah, I mean, it's the way the world is evolving, the way things are changing. A lot of things,
right,
like we said, the information they are available, like readily available. However, there are things that you might not be able to do if you don't go to school. Let me give you a very practical example.
okay,
I think there are some, like you said, some majors. There are some majors that you can't learn it on YouTube. For example, you can't learn to be a doctor. I don't care how many YouTube videos you watch. I'm not going to allow you to cut
or
my
even
body,
AI, or
or
even
even
with AI, even
no
yeah,
matter how much you told me that you've been to AI has helped you, ChatGPT has helped you, or you've watched a lot of videos or tutorials online. I'm not going to put my body down and allow you cut me open if you don't have a degree in medicine and surgery. Do you understand? So I think there is
right,
also that validation or that authenticity that school brings that makes you dependable in a sense, because it's the institution itself is a body. We don't know you, we've never been with you, we don't see
right,
you in your
right,
corner of your room when you are doing all those things. But
right.
when a school as reputable as ECU, R1, university says
Yeah,
this
shout out
person
to
is good,
R1.
you understand? We know ECU,
Yeah,
but we don't know you. So when we see on your certificate that ECU has said this guy has come to us, we have trained this guy and he's certified, we can trust him, then I can trust you because I know ECU. But I don't know you. I don't know where you've been. I've never met you before, most likely. So you're coming to me and saying you can do this, or you're a medical doctor. Am I supposed to believe you? Am I going to give myself as a guinea pig for you to test with? No.
that
When I
makes
look at
sense.
Do you understand? But ECU says you're qualified, and I believe ECU because ECU is a reputable organization, right? So I think there is that authenticity that school brings and that validation that school gives you in your degree. So when you show up for an interview, for example, I mean, there is a place of, when they test your skill to see if you really know it. But the reason why sometimes they say, okay, let's see if you have a college degree is because they trust the school. Because the entire school system is not just to give you information. There is something is building into you, right? So they trust that system to say, you have gone through a school like ECU. We know what this establishment is about, and we believe them. So if they say you are their product, there is something that we expect from you in that sense. So we believe that you're a kind of person. The school has made you into a kind of person, and then we can trust you. So I think that's what school brings.
Yeah, I mean, while you were saying that, I remember one of the things that's talked about or written on certificates back in Nigeria, how, on your certificate, it shows that this person has been found fit in character and in learning. So essentially, school takes care of learning, but also the goal is also to take care of, your character too, more. I mean, there's a reason someone acts a certain way and someone says, oh, that's an illiterate, or oh, that's an uneducated man. You get what I mean? That's an uneducated man, I mean, that's not to say that school is the only place you get an education.
Absolutely.
I mean, some people are not opportuned or privileged or to go to school. And I believe right now, I think the United Nations, if I remember correctly, education is now like a human right. I think that's one of the sustainable development goals too. So I mean, let's make the case for trades. And I think the only reason we even are saying, having this conversation in the first place is because we are not in Nigeria, AY, or in South Africa. Because it's difficult to even have the luxury of, being able to have maybe some of these conversations the way we're having them, So some people, for instance, from a very young age, have an affinity for stuff. So that could be electronics, sharing things apart and, putting it together. That could be, I don't know what that looks like in the movie or in the media space, So I think there's also something to be said about, we talked about passion or paycheck, but I think when we talk about school, maybe it might not look like the traditional 4 year. It could mean getting a certification in something. It could mean, getting an associate, some form of credibility, because I think that's what you are speaking to when you are talking about ECU and, the degree. I think it's that's credible, and to be fair, I was going to use a bad word, but I remembered again. I used to think negatively of certifications and stuff, because people say, oh, it's just a piece of paper, even like your diploma, it's just a piece of paper. But I think it's beyond that. As humans, we've evolved to, build these systems that show credibility. You get what I mean? That sort of precedes you before you walk into the room. For instance, even if you went home, say back to Nigeria, and in a conversation they need someone that can do something you're trained here to do. If someone say, oh, he went to East Carolina University in the US, people rest easy. There's that assumption that, oh, do this, qualified. I mean, it could also be a double-edged sword, but I think there's something to be said about, that sort of stuff, which is interesting because on LinkedIn every other day, you see, I'm happy to share, I've obtained a certification in, one of this or one of that. But it's interesting. So, hey, our listeners, if you're listening, let us know what you think, about the future of work. Is college still the best path to success, or should we be doing more to celebrate and to support alternative routes? Call us 252-756-2008. You're still here Awesome radio. Guys, any thoughts you guys have?
Yes. So I was going to, like you said earlier, trying to play the other side. So I mentioned earlier that I was listening to Steve Jobs.
Yeah, that's an old video too, though.
Yeah. And he was talking about how he left school. The fact that, but one thing that Steve Jobs said in that video that really, was quite insightful was the fact that he dropped out of school quite all right, but he was still in school in a way.
Okay.
So the idea was that he looked at how much he was paying, for college, and he realized that because it was in a very expensive school, and he realized
go ahead.
And he realized that he was spending his entire family savings just to go to school, and I was like, nah, this doesn't make sense. So he dropped out of school, but he said he took some classes, even though he was not a student. For example, I think he said he took a class
calligraphy.
Yes, you remember the video. So,
which
helped him later.
Too,
so he talked about how dropping out of school helped him to just focus on the ones that were important. So he just took maybe a few classes. Calligraphy was
very interesting. Yeah.
In the video, classes that were interesting to him at the time, and he learned things that later became useful for him in the future. So on the flip side of things, what I noticed was that sometimes actually school can stand in the way of, getting what you need to get to, right? Because there are times that in school you also get information. The information they are giving you in school, they're important, quite all right. But somebody who wants to do something very specific, sometimes you get some things in school that are probably, they look like they are too much, compared to what you're trying to do, right? So especially back home in Africa, for example, there are children who, have, like you said, they have affinity for some kind of things. And you use the example of, breaking, appliances apart and putting them together. When that kind of child goes to school, he has to take some other classes that probably doesn't, this person wants to do a lot of things related to electronics, for example. He's going to take classes that has nothing to do with electronics at some point, right?
Right.
Those places, they have the part to play. For example, I took classes in philosophy, right? And I'm not a philosopher in that sense. But the truth is, I remember that there was a particular, topic we did in philosophy, which is arguments, right? And we learned, and that was in I'm sure you took it in year 1, and we learned what arguments is, right? Before then,
this is the beginning. That's where your problem started.
And I thought, before then, what I thought arguments was just, just, do you understand? But I began to learn what it means to argue, what it means to present your case, what it means to put your point forward, right? And at the time, it looked like it's not related to what I studied here, but it's important in forming. So the people that put this curriculum together, they also know what they are doing, right? Okay. And I think for the most part, it's also evolving. A lot of things are being introduced into the system with the way the world is changing, and that is where the importance is. So far, the education system continues to catch up with the changing world. It will always be relevant. But if it is stuck in the past, where, for example, when there was the system that has been designed when there was no computers, for example, and you're still using that system, you're in trouble, right? But now we have computers. We use that to, change some things in the system. Nowadays, artificial intelligence, we have to incorporate that into the system such that we are not left behind, so that people don't begin to feel like, what's the point of going to school? It's not matching with where the world is today. But as long as the school system and the education system continues to evolve with the changing world, with the introduction of every new technology, we are changing, we are moving along with it, then the relevance will be able to keep up with it and stay relevant. Yeah, because that is what it's about at the end of the day. Education is about, forming you into becoming a kind of person. You're going to be in school for 4 years, being taught a particular body of knowledge. You begin to think that way for a long time. And I know we mentioned this already. That is why an economist think a certain kind of way, because consistently it's been, learning about this same type of things. You are into public administration. There's a way it conditions your mind. So school is also conditioning in a way. It's helping to condition you, making you into a kind of person with time.
And it could be better or worse too. It could be for better or worse too. Because people have made that argument that
Yeah.
school, what's the word again? That school, there's this word, it brainwashes you, sort of. Yeah, but I see what you mean. I think it's a
Yeah.
balance. I think
Yeah.
it's a balance. Well, go ahead though.
Yes, I mean, so that was what I was trying to get at. I don't know if Patrick has
Yeah.
something to.
Yeah, he's always half asleep on Saturday night.
Anyways, what I was gonna say is that I saw this. I don't know if it was a study or someone mentioned something. I think it was a teacher. They mentioned that they did a survey. I think it was like class presentation, because I remember even back home when we were younger, they used to ask us like, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" Right?
Stepdad, stepfather.
But that no, but this teacher, um, 90% of the kids said they want to have be a YouTuber or a streamer. That's
Oh
what they,
wow.
yeah, they legit said that they want to be a YouTuber or a streamer. And that tells you how much, like how much of a revolution we're even going into when we're
Right.
like, is school still important? And it a lot of things factor into that, for example, I remember, I mean, every child that has gone to school, even those that are really smart, have always had days where they felt like, I don't want to go to school today, like, maybe this semester I'm not feeling school, like when you're taking some of those
Right.
that don't relate to what you're doing, they don't interest you, and then they're difficult. So something that is difficult that you don't understand and you have no interest in, you just want to stop. And school has a lot to do with that. Say maybe it's gen eds or elective classes that don't relate to what you're doing. And so when you're doing them and you have nothing to relate to and you have no drive for them, they just feel like a waste of your time. And so
Right.
so it makes sense that, and then of course there's laziness. I, for one, would say there are times when students are lazy, and all students go through that phase. And so you always, and it's also human, human nature to go for the easy.
Right.
And so
Right.
since streaming seems like the easiest thing, most kids, and also cool too, perspective, kids think
Right.
and all that, so they want to go into streaming. So that just tells you, not to mention, the costs that we mentioned, the cost, how expensive it is, paying college debts and all these things,
Right.
dropped out because of debt and all that, right? It was very expensive and was like he wanted to do what related to him. And so, makes sense that kids nowadays don't even want to go to school. They want to, become
Right.
famous.
So
And
I'm thinking about something else. I'm thinking about a place like Eastern North Carolina, right?
yeah,
This place is rural, and one of the things I hear a lot, being in public administration and being interested in rural economic development, is one of the things I hear about is workforce, development. There is actually a shortage of workforce here. Um, and people talk about, I'm thinking, just from our conversation and hearing you two talk, is there a case for school, especially regional universities, let's get specific now, responding to the need of that area? I mean, I think it's one of the things ECU does really well. Eastern North Carolina has a huge healthcare need, right? And the College of Nursing employs the highest number of undergraduate students, I think, by department or by college. So there is a lot of focus in on this School of Medicine, on healthcare fields and all that, as a response to this huge healthcare need the region has. I'm also thinking about Pitt Community College, and there has been a lot of focus lately on trades. There has been they broke ground for a new welding, huge building for welding. There's there's I guess they've been able to try to spread the word around some of their things like HVAC, the air conditioner thing system, being able to work on that. Things like plumbing, things like carpentry. These are practical things that might not look, I guess, quote unquote, as cool as streaming, for instance,
yeah,
or content creation, which is fast becoming, an occupation. In the past on Facebook, people would put, what's your occupation? They would say self-employed. you know, yeah, very soon, content creator is going to become, I mean,
Yeah,
in
I
some places,
mean,
it's become
it's
like a
already, yeah.
full-time job. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, for a lot of people, content creation is huge. However, like you mentioned, there is a need in the society that school is trying to cater to. And I
Right,
mean, as much as humans will love to be entertained, I don't think
right.
entertainment is primal as a need for humans, right? So
Hmm.
we still need essentials to keep going, and school is where it's the school that takes care of things like that. For example, I mentioned healthcare earlier, and you also touched on it just now. So I think the primal needs of humans, they remain there, and school helps to be very deliberate about catering to these needs. I think we would have to go on a quick break
A break,
now.
yeah.
Yeah,
Don't touch the dial,
so,
and then we get back on
yeah.
Awesome Radio. All right. All right. Welcome back to Awesome Radio. You're still your favorite crew, Pitt Perspectives on Awesome Radio, and this is the final lap. Yes, Ewa, you had a thought there.
Yes, so I was just talking
Yeah.
about the way the school system, the education system respond to urgent needs of the society in general, and how professionals are being churned out from time to time to address
Right,
those needs. So when a
right,
kid says, "Oh, I want to be a YouTuber, I want to be," it's I mean, it's economics, it's demand and supply. And in the
right.
case of this, when we have so many, I mean, we're going to get to a point where the market for streamers, as it were, will get saturated,
You
and
think
we probably
so?
well, it's going to happen,
Bro, we
right?
are 8 billion though. That would take some time still though.
It's I
But
mean,
I
it's,
see
if we're
what you
going to
mean.
get we're going to get to that point, because, and the reason why I said so is because entertainment is important, quite all right, but it's not an essential service.
Okay.
So it is always a market for the top. So for example, a child
Oh,
that
I see
wants
what
to,
you
do
mean.
you understand? It's a market of the top, maybe 1% in most cases, compared to doctors. The medical field is not a market for the top 1%.
But I
You
mean,
can,
there's still a top 1%, but I see what you mean.
yes, but like,
Jesus.
for you to be a successful doctor, you don't have to be top 10%. You don't even have to be top 50% to be a successful doctor. But for you to be a
Mm,
successful streamer, you're going to be in the maybe top, maybe 10% at worst. Do you know how many people are
well,
streaming and they just have maybe 600 views?
it depends on your definition of successful too. But I mean,
I'm saying
I still
in
see
terms
your
of
point.
even generating income in that sense. That's what I mean.
Right, right. I
So
mean,
yeah,
I don't want to derail us to go in that direction, but I
yeah,
think
because
that
of
the
time.
need for people to be content creators is making people like do crazy stuff online right now just to get
Yes,
views, and all
yes,
that.
yes.
I mean, I don't want this to feel like a personal attack to the upcoming content creators and this. So,
I mean, Patrick is actually doing well. Let me see,
is
Patrick.
he? Is
Yeah, I
he?
mean, I kind of roll with his content. I think it's cool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for the most part.
but I'm sure he's not going
all,
to drop out of school to
all
do
the
that,
parts. What does this mean for the most? All the parts. Yeah.
Yeah, you
because
are
your
what?
safety, your safety is in being in school, Patrick. If you drop out of school for your TikTok, you are finished.
I mean, but you can make it your story though.
Yeah,
A
yeah.
biomedical student, that ended up picking things and
But I
kinds and
mean,
so.
it's better to have the degree. Just, I mean, if anything goes wrong, you have a safety. So I mean, looking forward to the upcoming week.
Yeah, all right, all right. Let's go. Let's go. I mean, it's been an amazing conversation,
Yeah.
and thanks for all our listeners. Let's go. Anyway, take it away.
Yes, so we're looking ahead to upcoming events for the week, and the first one we have here is Science Saturdays. It continues this weekend at the NC Museum of Natural Science in both Greenville and Contentner Creek. It's free, it's fun, it's perfect for families.
Yes, it's
Yes.
going on from 11:30 to 2 p.m. Yeah,
Yeah.
as a time for science. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, we also have Vinyl Swap, which is back this Sunday, May 25th. Bring your favorite records or just your good vibes and hang with music lovers and beer sippers alike.
Yes, the vinyl swap is going on at Pitt Street Brewing Company. I think that starts by 6 p.m. tomorrow. Yes, to the biggest one. Yes, yes. Rainbow United FC takes on X65 Alliance FC tonight at 6 p.m. for Health Workers Night at Pope John Paul II Catholic High School Stadium. So, hey, if you're a healthcare worker, you get discounted. Hey, let's pack Johnson Stadium and let's pack John Paul II Catholic High School Stadium. I missed it up. Johnson Stadium is where the ECU women's soccer plays. So,
Yeah,
yeah, I
yeah.
still have a club there.
Pirates, go Pirates.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's my
So,
team, man.
yeah, and the Bucks hit the road again tomorrow to face Lions Bridge FC in Newport News, Virginia. Kickoff is at 6 p.m. I'm hoping, let me see how I feel. I'll probably be riding up with them because Monday is public holiday. But you all are welcome to join us too.
Yeah,
To Virginia.
A lot is happening. Get out there, support
a lot.
Your local science centers and your local music folks. That's what building a community looks like. It's always amazing to get out there and do something.
Yes. So to round off for this week's inspiration, we want to remind you all that success doesn't look the same for everyone. Whether you're a recent grad, an upcoming content creator, a working parent, or just trying to figure it out. You are enough and your path matters.
Yeah, so I just like to say keep learning, keep growing, and keep asking questions. The future of work is wide open and your voice belongs in the conversation. Yeah.
Yes, and never underestimate the power of your community. Whether you find purpose in your job, your faith, Victor, your hobbies, or your relationship, all tied to the things that ground you.
Yes, that's all from us today. Be safe this Memorial Day weekend. Drive carefully and take time to remember those who gave their all. We'll be back next Saturday, same time, same station. Stay connected and stay inspired. Peace out.
Yeah, on Pitt Perspective
on Awesome
Radio Network, 107.5 FM and 57 AM WECU. We'll see you next week. Bye.